Hello and welcome back to my nerdy channel. This time we will turn the subframe into a single-seater mono-posto that hopefully weighs a lot less than the original one. Stay tuned! So those of you who have followed my channel, you know that I've gone to the utmost length to make my Ducati Streetfighter 848 as lightweight as possible. As I was working with the cables in the back of the bike, it dawned upon me how incredibly rigid the subframe is built. And now it has to be that because originally the bike is designed to carry two people and some luggage as well. But I decided from the beginning that I would carry neither. I have another bike should I feel the urge to ride with a passenger and or luggage. And that means that this super rigid design is a complete overkill for me. So I figured I could cut off some non-vital parts from the subframe and thus shaving off a lot of unnecessary weight. Swing! But all my modifications have been reversible and I made no difference here. So I bought a used one from a scrapped bike on eBay. And this one I could cut to pieces with no bad conscience. So let's see how much this thing weighs. It's 0 here, and if I can put it like this. So there we go. And we can see it is 3,348 grams as it stands. And the whole idea is to get rid of quite a lot of that. The weight of the rider is transferred to the frame through the saddle to these 4 points here, as well as a little bit to these attachment points as well. The tail end of the bike is carrying virtually no weight at all, since I also moved the battery. You may have seen that in a previous video. And that means I'm going to remove this crossbar here and also tidy up the very tail end right here. These attachment points for the passenger foot pegs will be gone, as well as the heavy duty attachment for the exhaust valve engine. These lower struts will disappear, and this overkill support beam will be worked over as well. So eventually it looks like this. I have cut out quite a lot, but I kept all the attachment points for the fairing, bar 2 holes in the back. And I must say that even in this cut down version, it's still super rigid to the point that I actually think you could have a passenger in the back, but I'm not gonna try. So a bit of a paint job to cover up the exposed metal, and then we have a product looking like this. And so the moment of truth. How much have we managed to save by shaving off all that steel? And the scale stops at 2287 grams. So comparing before and after, that equals 1.061 kilo less steel. When dismantling the original subframe, I found 2 steel bolts in the plastic tray that usually holds the battery. These are the attachment points for the voltage regulator, and they were promptly removed and replaced with 2 aluminium bolts. Well, I figured might as well, since I took it all apart. Also, the little steel bracket that holds the ECU was worked over, and I managed to shave off a couple of steel grams there as well. So now with all the pieces prepared, what was left was to remove the original subframe and mount the new one. And I must say that first it looked a little bit daunting with all the cables going everywhere, but once you take it apart, it actually makes perfect sense, and it was quite easy to fit the cables back where they were supposed to sit. It's not as complex as it might look from the beginning. Still, I did take a lot of pictures of it before I took anything apart, just to make sure that everything got back in the right spot. Once everything was connected, I took it outside to start it up to make sure that all electronics were in place and everything was fine. And to be quite honest, I was a bit surprised that it just started right away. I didn't really expect that, but it did, and it ran beautifully. And here you can also see what the exhaust looked like in its last edition. It's a tad bit too noisy for my flavor, and I may have to work that out. But first I have to take it out on the highway and rev it like a bitch to see what the noise is like to live with. So thanks for watching. That was the mono-posto hack. I'll see you in the next video. Stay tubed!